Governor, thank you for joining us.
You.
Yesterday at your press conference, you did release data, some key indicators, but not a timeline. And there's cell phone data recently released that's showing that there's some stay-at-home fatigue across America. And just this morning here, the Senate voted on 2 resolutions asking you to ease some of your restrictions as we get closer to that emergency declaration standoff. So when can Michigan know when their sectors of the economy will get back to business?
Well, I think it all depends on how seriously people take, the continued efforts to mitigate the spread of COVID-19. We are going to have to measure every step of the way. So as we re-engage a sector of our economy, we've got to watch and make sure that we don't have another increase in COVID-19 cases. If that's the case, then we can turn the dial a little bit more and re-engage additional sectors. So you can't put a hard and fast timeline because a lot of this depends on human behavior and our ability to observe these best practices and keep COVID-19 from climbing again. I can tell you this, that no one's as eager to keep turning that dial forward than I am. And that's why, we've got all of the preparation has gone into it. We have taken a deep dive into the data, really assessed risk inherent in different sectors of our economy so that when it is safe on the public health side to dial it up, we will be prepared and we will continue to move forward. My hope is that in the coming days or weeks that we are going to re-engage the construction sector, which has residential and commercial construction. We could look at additional outdoor enterprise in the coming days. And also we're taking a serious look at different sectors of our industrial economy. And so these are places that we could mitigate risk and start to re-engage. Offices, of course, are densely populated indoors. So to the extent that people are working from home, they should plan to continue working at home for the time being. But we're looking at all of these sectors and categorizing them for risk.
And your response to the Senate this morning and that deadline coming up on Thursday?
Well, we've got an ongoing conversation. I'm hopeful that they will extend the state of emergency. I think that it is important that their voices be heard, and I am listening, but the fact of the matter is we've got to be really smart. This isn't a switch, like an on and off that, okay, we're out of the woods, let's everyone go back to life as it was. We can't do that. If we do that, we will have a second wave of COVID-19, and it could necessitate another stay-home order, which is nobody wants that, especially me. And so as we dial this up, it's going to happen in incremental phases so that we can measure, so that we can prepare, and slowly but surely we will get back to normal in this state.
I want to get your take on AG Barr instructing U.S. Attorney Snyder to conduct investigations into constitutionality of COVID-19 related state policies, given that you have said yourself that yours were some of the most restrictive in the nation. I want to get your response to that.
Well, I'll just say that, Michigan had a unique situation with COVID-19. We are the 10th largest population in the country, and yet early on, we had the 3rd largest number of people with COVID-19, and we had the 3rd highest number of deaths in the country. It was ravaging our state, and it required that we take aggressive action. As you could see in the chart that I used yesterday during the press conference, the trajectory on which we were meant that as of yesterday, we would have had about over 200,000 people who would have required hospitalization. But the reality is the stay-home order has worked, and the vast majority of people in our state are doing the right thing. And we only have 3,000 people hospitalized because of COVID-19 right now. That's pretty remarkable. And it just shows that Michiganders did the right thing. We took this seriously, and we've saved lives in the process because of it.
Any constitutional concerns, though?
No, I don't think so. I think that, you can save lives and adhere to the spirit of the Constitution. That's precisely what we've done.
I want to also ask you about some state budget cuts, apparently translated to some coordinators at the Veterans Affairs losing their jobs, especially at this time during this pandemic of needing coordinators to coordinate benefits. Is that a good time to be cutting those kind of jobs? Were furloughs looked at instead for that?
That was a decision made at the at the department level. I am concerned about it, and we are working with the department because I do recognize that those are important positions. I'll say this though, we're going to be in a position of having to make a lot of tough decisions in state government because our economy, as our economy goes, so does the state budget, and so we are going to have to make some tough decisions. It is my hope that those aren't long-term cuts that have been made, and that these services the needs of our veterans can be met one way or another. We're going to make sure of it.
Governor, we're coming up on fall classes for college starting soon. And at this point, it's still up in the air as to how that will proceed. Should college students, college freshmen expect their first year to be e-learning?
You know what? You're asking a question that's close to home. My daughter is graduating from high school. I was, like every parent with a kid in the class of 2020, hoping right now to be planning a graduation, ceremony and a little event here at the house so that we could acknowledge this life, milestone. And we can't do that because of COVID-19. And it's one example of many life changes and impacts that this virus has had on people everywhere. What I do know is that we have to be really smart about how we re-engage. And events or activities that have a lot of people in one closed-in space are probably the last to come online safely. The universities, I think, are doing an incredible amount of work to work through this and to understand and to make decisions. And I am talking with the heads of our universities regularly. I don't know where this is going to be headed on that front, but as I've been talking to my own child, the whole world's going through this too. And so it's not a unique problem for us here in Michigan. I think leaders in colleges and universities all across the country are grappling with this, and we'll work through it. It's not always going to be easy, but we will get through this, and that's what I've been telling my own child.
I talked with FEMA Region 5 Administrator Joseph today and asked him if he sees on the horizon a time where FEMA's no longer needed here in the state. And I want to pose that same question to you. Is COVID-19 under control here in Michigan? And do you see a time in the near future where FEMA and other assistance, outside assistance, is no longer needed?
Well, we're on the right trajectory. There's no question. The fact of the matter is the aggressive actions that we've taken as a state and that our people the work that has been done has really contributed to the change in trajectory. Our hope is that FEMA can leave when it's safe to, but that they don't leave too early. And I think the concern, of course, is, as we've seen in other parts of the world, that when countries get through the what they view as the crisis, they have a decision to make. How do we re-engage? Is it slow and incremental? Ideally. But some have just tried to flip a switch and jump right back into life as it was beforehand. Those are the countries that see the second wave. And so we've really got to be smart and avoid the second wave at all costs. I think all of us can agree, none of us wants to be back in this spot come August or September. And so my hope is that, while FEMA's been a great partner, I'd love to see them leave and not have to come back. And that's precisely why we got to get this right. And I welcome their partnership. They've been really good to work with.
Governor, good to see you. Thank you for the time.
Thanks, Brian. Take care.